Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick make their orange and blue debut. We get you set for the Oilers and the Blue Jackets right here on the Oil Stream pregame show. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well on a lovely Thursday in Edmonton. The sun's out. Things are heating up. And so, too, are the trade rumors. Lots of deals going on in and around the National Hockey League the last couple of days leading up to tomorrow's deadline, and the newest members of the Edmonton Oilers, at least two of them, will be in action tonight in Columbus. Tom Gazzola, YouTube Trev with you. Joaquin Gage in for Matty Cassian. Gager will be joining us just after 4 o'clock our time, and we'll also go down to Columbus and catch up with Brian Hedger from the Columbus Dispatch, our good friend, Blue Jackets beat reporter, to give us the scoop on this team that the Oilers face this evening. As always, join the conversation. Get at us in the Nasty Chat if you're watching on our YouTube channel. We appreciate that so very, very much. Nasty's trickling in. I can see it already. And then you can also text us if you're listening via iHeartRadio or TuneIn or our EdmontonSportsTalk.com audio stream, 780-218-9999. Let us know how you feeling going into action tonight. How do you feel about things that have transpired over the past 2 days and the roster additions? I think it was Dusty put up a poll on X asking if people were satisfied with what the Oilers had done at this point. I think it was overwhelmingly no when I checked about half an hour ago, as opposed to yes. And it just goes to show you can't please them all. You can't please them all. So, with that being said, I will quickly put out the question of the night to all of you listening and watching. 780-218-9999 or via the Nasty Chat. How do you feel about the additions Ken Holland has made to the roster? Is this team a true cup contender, in your opinion? Let us know. Don't need the expletives. Kids are going home from school right now. Driving in your vehicle. We don't need swears. People preparing an early dinner, perhaps. Have us on their kitchen or in the living room with the volume up. No swearing, please. Let's minimize the expletives if you're not happy with the Oilers. So let us know your thoughts. Question of the night heading into this one against Columbus. How do you feel about the additions Ken Holland has made to the roster? Is this team a true cup contender, in your opinion? 780-218-9999 or via the Nasty Chat. I will get to those shortly as they accumulate, and we will also hear from YouTube Trev shortly as well. I will go to starting lineups first to give Trev a little bit of time. He's taking care of business. TCB, like Kramer. Brian Hedger in 10 minutes. Columbus Dispatch. Here are your lineups for tonight's action from Columbus. McDavid between Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Leon Draisaitl with the newly acquired Adam Henrique on the left. The much maligned of late. That's not even a fair thing to call him. Evander Kane. Streaky Evander Kane on the right side of that second line. That looks like a damn good second line. Will Draisaitl and Kane figure it out? Can they make something happen? Can they find some chemistry? The answer has been no the majority of the time. Will that change? Is Henrik the key to unlocking that chemistry? We shall see. Lots of flexibility available with this forward unit. Ryan McLeod centering Warren Fogle and Corey Perry, who knows Henrique and Carrick. Oh, more so Henrique well. And then you've got Sam Carrick centering Matthias Janmark and Derek Ryan. You know what that means. No Connor Brown tonight. He of 5 assists. If you didn't catch it, Dylan Holloway was sent down to Bakersfield. Sam Gagner did clear and also has been assigned to Bakersfield. On defense for the Oilers, Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Desharnais, Kulak with Ceci, and if you didn't catch it, the Oilers did acquire Troy Stecher from Arizona. For the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight, Boone Jenner centering Johnny Gaudreau and Jack Roslovic, Dmitry Voronkov with Yegor Chinnikov and Kirill Marchenko. Cole Sillinger with Alexander Texier and Alex Nylander, who had a hat trick a couple of nights ago. Sean Corelli between Justin Danforth, who just broke an extended scoring slump, and Matthew Olivier. And no, they're not going to get Danforth. Zach Werenski with Adam Boakfist. Ivan Provorov with Andrew Peak. Damon Severson paired up with Eric Goodbranson. Out for Columbus tonight. Patrick Laine, IR, fractured clavicle. Kent Johnson, IR, torn labrum. Elvis Merzlikins, day-to-day upper body. Adam Fantilli, day-to-day calf laceration. No Jake Bean for the Jackets. All right, 780-218-9999 if you want to text us. And then if you want to get in on the nasty chat, let us know your thoughts. Really quickly, starting goalies for the Oilers tonight, 31-year-old Calvin Pickard, 8-3 record, 240 goals against average, 909 save percentage, one shutout in 12 games this season. Pickard versus Columbus, a 2-2-1 record, 297 goals against average, 879 save percentage in 5 appearances versus the Jackets. And at the other end of the rink, it will be 24-year-old Daniel Tarasov, 5-8-2 record, 358 goals against average, 891 save percentage in 15 games this season. Tarasov will face Edmonton for the first time in his career. Question of the night as we get set to bring in YouTube Trev. No mustache with YouTube Trev. How do you feel about the additions Ken Holland has made to the roster? Is this team a true cup contender, in your opinion? Let us know your thoughts. Let's go to YouTube Trev. You've had a long day. Hello.
It's been pretty busy. Yeah, of course. I'm very rejuvenated. It's good. It's good, Tommy. I can't wait because I wasn't here for the last pregame and postgame show. Had sports that night, but it was cool because, and I said this the last time, but it was nice. You know, I was driving home and I was just like, oh, I had to tune in and I just wanted to talk so bad. I was like, I have so many things I want to say. So
you've texted in the nights you haven't worked. I remember.
Yeah. I've texted a few times. So, to your question on the night, Tommy, I mean, were they not contenders before? Like, were they not? They were probably top 10. When you
them,
like they were playing extremely good hockey as of late. You look at the stats, you look at the numbers. So I think they were a contender before, Tommy, and I think this solidifies their contender status. I really do. You get Adam Henrique, who's just was he the player that Oilers fans were wanting? Maybe not. I personally, I love it. You know, it wasn't Buchnevich, it wasn't Gensel. You're getting Adam Henrique. Like, I don't know what the hate is on this guy. I really like him. He's got really, no one's talked about his hands in tight. He's had several goal of the year candidates. Mm-hmm. He's a really shifty player, and I think it's gonna, I really just cannot wait. It's gonna be interesting to see how he fits in and where he fits in. They have some time to, figure out what works best for him. Is he gonna, Gazzola said, is he better slotted as a third line center? Right now, you got him on the second line tonight, and his creativity, I could see it working a lot with the likes of Leon Draisaitl. I really can. So I'm for it. You got Sam Carrick, who's kind of he's an okay player. He's better.
It up.
He does. He's exactly what you want, I think, in a fourth line, kind of grinder. He's got 8 goals this year, which is 8 more than the guy that's going to be not playing tonight. So I do like that. And then as for Troy Stecher, I was watching I haven't watched, many Arizona Coyotes games this season. I'm not going to lie. I'm sorry. But I was watching a lot of Calgary Flames games last year. Nearing the end of the season, the Flames acquired him. I thought at times he looked like their best defenseman. I'm not even joking. He was so noticeable. I was like, wow. And I was talking to my buddies back home. I'm like, how about Stecher? He looks really good. And they were really pleased with what he was doing. And just looking at his game log back, he played 20 games and he got 7 points in those 20 games. But this year it's kind of been a little different. He's playing for the Coyotes, albeit. So I really think that might be the sneaker trade. I think a lot of people are going to be very intrigued with Troy Stecher. I think, I'm pretty pumped for that as well. But yeah, Tommy, they were contenders before. They're even more so contenders now. I think you should be thrilled. A lot of people are saying, oh, you can't overpay like you're worried. But, it's funny how
they expect.
It's funny how it transitions so quick. Like, they're in win now mode. You need to do everything. And then they give out their first to get, a really solid player in Henrique. And they're like, that's an overpay. It's like, What are you talking about? Like, they're in win now mode. You just said it. So I don't think it was an overpay at all. I think it's awesome. I cannot wait to see what he does. He's a good Canadian boy. And I'm thrilled to see what he does. So yeah, to my answer, sorry, I went on a little bit of a tangent there.
I enjoyed that tangent.
Yeah, thank you. But
your diatribe was well appreciated.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah. But solid. I think it's solid. It just gives them so much more options. I was looking at the options today on the morning show. I was like, oh, you could do this. So, and like I said, they do have time before the playoffs. That's, this is kind of the test where he slots in, and I like that. So it's solid. Yes, they're even more so contenders now, Tommy.
Nicely done. Good job. I like that.
Thank you. Couldn't press the mute button.
Polite. If you're wondering what the Oilers gave up to get Stecher, it was a 2027 fourth-round pick. Edmonton does receive a 2024 seventh-round pick alongside Stecher from the Coyotes. All right, let's see what we've got from the inbox, 780-218-9999. You heard YouTube Trev's thoughts on the question of the night. How do you feel about the additions Ken Holland has made to the roster? Is this team a true cup contender in your opinion? Before we go into, responses, I will say I have been told that they are likely done. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We know Ken Holland will probably take a sniff around, but sounds like, for the most part, the Oilers are done in regard to upgrading the roster. Adam in Quebec City says, hey, Tommy, here are my thoughts. Some teams have accountants as cap specialists. Some teams have lawyers. But the true MVP of the trade deadline is Vegas cap specialist, who happens to be this guy, Dr. Nick Riviera. Hi, everybody. If you're a Simpsons fan, you get it. Hi, everybody. The B is for bargain. 188 Doctorb. The B is for bargain. Yes, a lot of jokes being cracked about the Golden Knights. And Adam in Quebec City, well played. I can appreciate that one big time. Strummy says, Bumblebee tuna, buddy. Sorry about the F-bomb. From Strummy. Strummy, good to hear from you. Bumblebee tuna, pal. And the Liquid Beaver getting in says, I like everything that Holland did. Lots of depth. 100%. We are cup contenders. Hello, the Liquid Beaver. Good enthusiasm on a Thursday afternoon. Let's go to this one. It says, I think the Oilers did good. If we needed to make a really big splash on a trade, then Oilers are not close. I think chemistry is a big thing to do with it. In the last 3 months, this team has chemistry, and looks like the last 5 games they're back to stingy defense. This defense core went 8 straight, then 16 straight. That text out of Saskatchewan, I believe. That is a Saskatchewan area code. No name on it, but good text, I think. I thank you for that. This one says, hey guys, Adams, Henrique definitely moves the needle. Getting back to the D question, isn't Broberg on the left side a better option than, say, Troy Stecher from Cato, South Central? Stetcher's a right shot D, so on the right side, and I think it's pretty safe to say that Broberg will be a black ace and a call-up, but they got a veteran guy who's been through the muck in Troy Stecher. So that was what they were going for. That's something that we've talked about. Cassian has discussed many, many times, myself included, and they went out and they did that. But, Broberg will be a black ace, and good that he's playing well down in Bakersfield. You want to see that. That's a positive. Thank you, Cato. Appreciate the text. Let's see what's going on in the nasty chat. How are you guys doing? You guys were buzzing yesterday. The All Stream yesterday was popping.
It was cool to see. Woo. There was a lot of nasties in there. New nasties and old nasties.
Good. Welcome. Come to us. We want you. Good to see our YouTube channel continues to grow, as does our listenership, which is fantastic. And we welcome all of you. Please join the party. Penner's Pancakes. What's going on, Penner's Pancakes? What do you got to say today? I see YTT having a long career in media. He is blossoming well at EST. He really is.
That's pretty cool. Thank you, Penner's Pancakes. I appreciate that.
Yeah. VR Montenegro. Hello, Mike. I'm happy so far. One more depth D-man would be nice. We'll see. Doesn't sound like they're going to be shooting for anything tomorrow, but you never know. Ken Holland's going to sniff around. You know, when you peruse, I'll go into this shop, have a look around, and then you end up with something golden. Could it be tomorrow? I don't think so, but you never know. Caster 1990 says, I want Gager to go ballistic on the idiot armchair GMs like Cass did earlier today. Did Cass pop off? I missed two guys in a goalie today. I was out for lunch with Belzy, and I did not catch it. I'll have to go back and watch, but all right. X-Ray J says, Stetcher definitely an upgrade on the right compared to Broberg. I have faith in Broberg being able to step in on the left side should an injury come up. X-Ray J, good to hear from you. Richard says he's checking in with the Nasties. Nice watching the crew yesterday. Box Pounder, Neil, hello. Did we observe a moment of silence to honor the death of YTT's stash? We've moved on.
I think I definitely have had a moment of silence. I don't know about anyone else, but I moved on, and playoffs was right around the corner. So that's one thing I was telling everyone. It's
your
like
hot take reference to your stash today was
not bad.
Picante.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I don't know what that
Did you
means.
get any? It's hot.
Oh yeah, that was hot. Yeah.
Picante.
Yeah, I didn't get no one chimed in or said anything, but maybe for the better.
Carmen says, Tommy, we aren't done yet. Yes, Carmen, I don't know how. I know you don't believe me, Carmen, but they say they're done. That's what I've been told. Believe what you want. I can't control that. I can just tell you what I've been told, and then you can interpret it how you like. I'm done getting angry about it. No point. All right, we're going to get to Brian Hedger shortly here from the Columbus Dispatch. Question of the night one more time. How do you feel about the additions Ken Holland has made to the roster? Is this team a true cup contender in your opinion? I want to go see, like on Nielsen's Twitter account, he put up a poll. Also, really quickly, Edmonton, according to Sportsnet stats, and just the fact that they are 33-8-1 in their last 42 games. So on fire since that horrendous start. Let's see what Dusty's Twitter poll's at. Yeah, he had 4,200 votes. And it was simply put, are you okay with it if the Oilers are finished? That came out 3 hours ago. 4,217 of you have answered Dusty's poll. 68.3% of the vote says no. 31.7% says yeah. Feisty. Oil country, never change. Absolutely love it. All right, Brian Hedger's good to go. All right, let's bring him in. Our dear friend from the Columbus Dispatch, the one and only Brian Hedger. Brian, all right, man, it's been, let's start with this. It's been a crazy month and a half since these teams got together in Edmonton. You were commenting on how nice the weather was. It has since gotten colder. Now it's warming up today, which is enjoyable considering spring's around the corner. But give us the vibe and the mood around this Jackets club that has since let go of Jarmo Kekalainen as GM since we last saw you.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's kind of been the same all year where, actually, I'll take that back. It has grown within the locker room. This is actually a pretty close team. If you want to, focus on the team itself, you look at the record, and everyone does, and everyone says, "Oh God, another horrible year in Columbus. It must be miserable. It must be terrible." Well, the one area where that's really not the case is inside the locker room. The guys are very close. There's something forming here for sure. And if you look at, especially recent play, I want to say the last 2-3 weeks, maybe since the All-Star break, they're outplaying a lot of teams that are in the playoffs or in contention for the playoffs. They're not winning every one of those games, but if you look at advanced metrics and things like that, their advanced metrics have significantly improved as a team, and that's without obviously Patrick Laine's in the player assistance program. It's without Adam Fantilli, who went out when his calf got lacerated in Seattle right before the big break. They're without a number of guys. Kent Johnson just went down. they just keep kind of trudging forward, and they keep getting better at Coach Pascal Vincent's systems, especially defensively in the defensive zone. I know you guys out there in Edmonton kind of dealt with something similar with Woodcroft. I believe they were trying to do more of like a zone man type thing, and it was kind of a train wreck, a disaster. But it was that way here a little bit too to start. But the Jackets have they've adapted, and they've come around to it, and they're just playing hockey now. So there's some excitement, I think. I mean, the fans are still angry. I mean, you're going to have angry fans whenever you're going through a process like this. They're so grumpy and angry and everything.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, I look at it and I say, here's how I always sum it up. The mood around everything around here is that last year, when they went through 500-plus man games, lost to injuries, when they were like second to last in the league, they easily could have been dead last in the entire league. That was drudgery. I mean, that was awful to have to go through every single night. They were hardly in any games. It was not fun hockey to watch. This team is in every single game for the most part. Like, there's at least, they may end up losing, whatever, but like, this is actually kind of a fun team to watch play hockey, even if they, with the record being what it is.
Brian, I'll go back to Kekalainen one more time. Like, listen, this guy was one of the league's longest tenured GMs. Do you think the decision to move on from him was long overdue? And if so, what took the Jackets so long to make it happen?
I'm not going to say it was long overdue. I'm not in that camp.
Okay.
I also don't, but I also understand the logic and the rationale behind the move. Sometimes stuff like that just needs to be done. I mean, he was here 11 years. What I will say is, in the first 8 years, he, by and large, had them as a playoff contender. I mean, there was a stretch there of I think it was 5 and 6 years where they made the playoffs. They upset the Lightning, shocked the world by sweeping the Lightning, actually. So they had some success. And then, I hate to put it all on like one or two players, but after that playoff run in 2019, they were unable to, keep Artemi Panarin around.
Right.
So if they keep him around, I guarantee you this is a whole. We're probably not even having this discussion right now. It might be something different, but it wouldn't be the one that we're having right now, because I've talked to a number of players that were part of that core group: Nick Foligno, Cam Atkinson, Seth Jones, right on down to Matt Duchene, like Pierre-Luc Dubois, Josh Anderson, all these guys that got scattered throughout the league. Pretty much every one of them said, if Brett stays, the bread man, Artemi Panarin, if he stays, more likely than not, they stay, and they keep their core group together, and maybe they make a run at it the following year or two to try and win the cup. I mean, they were only a couple of victories away from beating the Bruins, who went to the Stanley Cup final that year. It's a whole different conversation if that happens. So what happens is after he leaves, I think it was 2021 after that season. That was the first real bad season here after that run of playoff success. And Jarmo Kekalainen, as general manager, makes the decision that it's time to rebuild the roster. And it's time to reset and retool, or whatever they want to call it. But it was a rebuild, and this has been a rebuild from day one. I know that they didn't market it that way. I believe they just didn't feel like, that would go over well with the fan base, with, the rest of hockey or whatever. Oh, we're rebuilding again in Columbus. Mm-hmm. But that's what this is. And when you look at, they don't even have to say it. Look at the moves that they made. All those names I just rattled off, gone. Every one of them. Those are all pretty good players, and part of the core group, gone. They're rebuilding. So I would say that they're in the middle of a rebuild, and Jarmo doesn't get a chance to finish it off. The job that he started, and I think he knew that when he made that decision consciously, he knew there was risk, and that if it didn't work out real fast, that he might be gone. And, here we are.
Yeah. Brian Hedger joining us now from the Columbus Dispatch as we get set for the Oilers and the Blue Jackets, second of two meetings this season between these two clubs. Okay, so, the look ahead to the future, you talk about Kekalainen kind of setting this up in the rebuild, knowing the consequences. Maybe it cost him his job. It did. How does the team and the franchise go about managing the future? Are there already names swirling to take over as next GM? What does that mean for the current coaching staff? Brian, when you were here, we talked about it after the game, the whole thing with Mike Babcock. So how does that look for Columbus right now? How are they guiding this ship in, if you will, to the end of the season, bringing it back to Harbor?
Yeah. Well, they still have, John Davidson is still here. One that ultimately made the decision along with the CEO of the team, Mike Priest. They made the decision to move on from Jarmo Kekalainen, and so that those guys are leading the search for the next GM. Now, as far as names go, they're keeping it pretty close to the vest, mainly because John Davidson just told me the other day they haven't interviewed anybody. I think that common sense would be, if you're going to look around the league and you're going to look at other teams' talent, as far as assistant GMs and things of that nature, maybe even other GMs that are potentially throwing their hat in the ring, you're going to have to wait till those teams either make those guys available to interview or the season's over or whatever. So there's going to be some kind of waiting process if you're going to go that route. And there's plenty of names, both experienced and not experienced. They're also kind of promising up and coming. But the one name that keeps coming back to me when I, kind of ask around about it is Mark Hunter, the GM of the London Knights right now in the Ontario Hockey League. Mm-hmm. Blue Jackets currently have a very strong relationship with the London Knights. Assistant GM Basil McRae I believe he's still a part owner of the London Knights. Rick Nash played there, obviously. He's in the front office here. There's a pretty close relationship between the Hunters and the Blue Jackets. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go that route. Let's just put it that way. And, I had a conversation with John Davidson the day after Jarmo Kekalainen's firing was announced, and basically asked him about experience. And I said, hey, how important is experience in the job? Previous experience as a NHL GM going to be? Is it important? And he kind of said, well, there's a bunch of different ways to define experience. And then very quickly said, experience could also be someone coming from the junior ranks. Oh. And he didn't name names. But, it kind of made my eyebrows perk up a little bit because, obviously Elliot Friedman had already thrown out there the name Mark Hunter. So we'll see where it all goes. Who knows? That just might be a smokescreen. Who knows? Time will tell, but that's the only name I've really heard so far.
Yeah, Mark Hunter, his name came up around here before Kenny Holland was hired when the Oilers went to Keith Gretzky on an interim basis. And then it's kind of popped up a little bit around here too, Brian. So interesting. And for JD to just drop that on you unprovoked, I think is a good tell. So we'll see where it goes. And obviously Mark Hunter is well respected in hockey circles at all levels. So it should be interesting to see, as the Oilers are going to need a new GM next year as well. Brian Hedger joining us now from the Columbus Dispatch, getting you ready for the Oilers and the Blue Jackets. You talked about how this is a close-knit team, but deadline day is very, very close. We've seen a slew of trades, Brian. Who is handling making the moves and wheeling and dealing for the Jackets? Is it Basil McRae? Is it John Davidson? Is it assistant GM Josh Flynn? Is it a combination of those three? What's your interpretation of how the Jackets are going about it? Because they've been pretty quiet.
Yeah. It's a combination of the three. John Davidson is officially the interim GM while they're doing the search and looking for the new GM. So he's handling that role of president of hockey operations / interim GM. So ultimately, it's going to go through him. Basil McRae and Josh Flynn are both obviously, continuing in their roles that they have that they had under Jarmo Kekalainen as well. So I think it's a team approach. JD said recently that they were going to be kind of quiet at the deadline. He kind of predicted. I mean, that's not to mean that there's not any moves coming from the Blue Jackets, but I think they want to kind of stay a little bit under the radar here, just for the fact that you got a roster here, you got a young roster. It's clearly growing and developing, and when you're going to hire a new GM and you turn the keys over to him, you're going to want him to maybe make look at what you got, make some assessments, and then maybe make some moves on his own to see what the next steps are going to be. So I don't think they want to mess with it too much. I'll say the only pending free agent, unrestricted free agent that is on the roster is Jack Roslovic. So I think there's kind of a sense around here that Jack Roslovic at some point is probably going to get moved. He is a versatile. He's an intricate skater, got playmaking skills, but he's not super consistent. That's the whole thing. Like, there are nights when Jack is the best player on the ice. There's nights where just you don't find him, right? Mm-hmm. And so then that's for every player. That's probably the biggest struggle, right? How do you stay consistent on a night-to-night basis? But on the good nights, I mean, he's something else. So, and he's versatile. He can play center. He can play wing. I personally think that his best spot is right where he's at right now. He's playing right wing on the top line with Boone Jenner and Johnny Gaudreau. And they're a pretty good line most nights. So we'll see what happens and see if the Jackets end up moving him or others. They also have log jams. Like, they have a log jam on the back end throughout the organization that they could have dealt with in the offseason. We all thought they were going to, downsize the offseason. They have so many prospects coming, and they didn't. Names like Andrew Peak, names like Adam Boquist, Jake Bean. Like, you got all kinds of guys who can play those, kind of like the 4, 5, 6 role, or a seventh, an extra guy that can be around for depth. They have all kinds of those guys, and so but they're also sort of blocking guys that are in the minors right now or in other parts of development. And so it wouldn't surprise me to see a couple of names like that or one name like that get removed just to kind of clear some space.
I know our game analyst, Matt Cassian, really likes Andrew Peak, and he thought that would have been a great target for the Oilers. So that's interesting and noteworthy that you point that out. Maybe that's something that gets revisited in the offseason. We shall see. Brian, one thing on Roslovic, and I want to ask you this because he's a Columbus guy, and he's playing for his hometown team. And I also wanted to float this to you as well. But being a hometown guy, playing for the Jackets, wouldn't he want to stay? Isn't there something special about that? And then we've had a few comments, not many, because every time I talk about Columbus and the Blue Jackets, I tell people how sneaky good of a hockey market it is and how much the team is supported by the fan base. They've just never really had a consistently good team to cheer for. What would you say, A, about the market, and then B, for a guy like Roslovic, being a hometown guy, wanting to stick around with his hometown team?
Well, we'll start with A here. This is you and I have talked about it before as well, but it is really a sneaky good hockey market. And,
yeah.
I think the challenge for the Jackets at this point moving forward, especially as they grow and get better and have more success on the ice with their rebuild, is the challenge now becomes, making it less of a sneaky good hockey market and making it more known outside of Ohio just how good of a market it really is for hockey. I mean, I'll give you a number that kind of demonstrates this a little bit. And when they first came into the league, so that was 2000, 2001, I've been told, I have to look at it, I think there was less than 1,000 kids with USA Hockey playing hockey registered in Central Ohio, which is a fairly big area. Mm-hmm. And now, I mean, it's approaching 20,000 now, so that's pretty good growth.
Totally.
And, over the course of it. And the other thing is, we have a number of these that they call them chiller rinks, out here that you have 2 or 3 or 4 of them, and each one of them have, a couple sheets or whatever. And then they also have the ice house where the Blue Jackets practice downtown that is connected to Nationwide Arena. That's where the AAA Blue Jackets play, and and other teams, high school teams. There's not enough ice here in Ohio right now. They need to like, they're trying to find other places to get more rinks because kids are so into playing hockey. And the other thing is, the Jackets for the last 4 years haven't even been that good. But I was here when they were, 2017 through, I want to say 2020, 21, when they were actually making the playoffs. They were like giving teams runs, all that kind of stuff. When they swept the Lightning here, I mean, this place was a madhouse. It was a zoo. And, if they ever do make a run here, if they like go on a 2 or 3 year run where they're making conference finals or they make the cup final or even win it, I mean, you're going to have just kids coming out of the woodwork that want to play hockey even more than they already do now. So it is a great market. And, this, like we've mentioned the record earlier, it's 21 wins, 30 some odd losses, whatever. Yeah. I think now last game was not a sellout here, but it was still like 17,000 and the building holds like 18. Before that, I believe they had sold out something like 11 of their previous 13 home dates here. Like, you're selling the building out. Like that's just, you don't find that across the league. And I see it all the time because I'm on the road. I go to these like road rinks and even teams that are good, you're like, oh, where are the fans?
Yeah.
And it's like, if it's just, regular Tuesday night or something, and that's understandable, but the Jackets are packing them in, and I think that the best golfers.
Did we lose Brian?
Hello?
Oh, there we go. We got you back, Brian. We got you.
Tommy there?
Yeah, I'm here. I got you.
Okay, good. Sorry, I was going on and on.
No, that was good.
But yeah, it's a great hockey market. We'll just sum it up with that, right?
Absolutely, and I'm glad you can kind of paint that picture because there's, I guess, a misconception among some. And listen, Brian, not everybody. I think there are those that like really pay attention and be like, "Oh, it's always full," even though the team's struggling, like you alluded to. And it is truly a good hockey market. Okay, in terms of tonight, Brian, this team, you said that even though the record's not good, they're sticking together. They've also dealt with so much adversity. They lose their GM, their coach before the start of the year. Pascal Vincent comes in. Lots of injuries to key players. They've got a lot of young guys, but they just smacked around the Golden Knights a couple of nights ago. Alex Nylander had a hat trick. So on the ice, what should we expect from the Jackets, and what kind of game do you think we're going to see tonight with them and the Oilers?
Well, it's interesting because if you remember, not too long ago, I guess the Jackets were out there on the West Coast trip, and I think that was a pretty good game for a couple of periods, and then the Oilers took it over there in the third period, and that's what people would expect, right? I think most people would expect them to just dominate from Jump Street, but it's hard to say. If the Oilers weren't on the roll that they are right now, I would say 100% for sure this is going to be a close game tonight. That the Jackets, I will say this, they're not afraid of anybody. They don't step on the ice and get intimidated by a single team anymore. Right. And that includes the Oilers. Even though, the Oilers, we know all of the guys that they have. The Oilers are geared up for the playoffs. They're loaded, all that kind of stuff. And playing better. They're playing so much better, obviously, than they did at the beginning of the year. But the Jackets, they won't be afraid of them. And I think that's one thing that people, when they watch this team play, look for that aspect because they have been stepping up to a lot of good teams recently. And I think it's been shown in their play. The last 2 weeks or so, their expected goals for percentage, they're greater than 50%. They're as a total against the teams that they've played against. So they're playing better hockey. So we'll see if they can hang with the Oilers tonight.
Hey, if it's a good game, highly entertaining, and we see some excellent action, I'm all for it. Brian, always good to catch up with you, man. Thanks for the time. Enjoy the game tonight.
Thanks a lot, man. It's always good to hear from you and good to be on.
All right, that is Brian Hedger from the Columbus Dispatch. Great guy and excellent writer. Check him out. Covering the Blue Jackets. Nice to have him on. again. You can text us 780-218-9999 or get at us in the Nasty Chat. We're going to get to Joaquin Gage and Game Changers in a couple minutes' time as we accumulate some texts and people answer the question of the night, which I'll throw out there again because I'm sure there's some people who have been just tuning in lately. Question of the night is this: how do you feel about the additions Ken Holland has made to the roster? Is this team a true cup contender in your opinion? 780-218-9999. Or if you're watching on our YouTube channel, get at us in the Nasty Chat. I will be reading those as we progress through the afternoon. But now we're going to go to some clips from the locker room. Who do you want to get to first, Trev? What do you think?
You know what? I wouldn't mind hearing from one of the newest Oilers.
Yes.
Let's go to Adam Henrique here.
Flashbacks of coming in here, first day of school again. Kind of funny how that works, but it's exciting. And again, it's a quick turnaround, but I think in a situation that helps. I've been through it once before on a quick turnaround, just coming in and going to play, meet the guys, and kind of throwing right into the fire. But I think for us as athletes, that helps just kind of be on our normal schedule per se.
Where were you coming in from the last time?
Well, just from Jersey last time, and so yeah, just direct in from Anaheim, which was good. Just pack up and kind of go. That's that.
Go ahead. Again, you've been through this before. What did you learn from the last time on a trade?
Well, just kind of. I don't know if you really learn, but I think for me the best thing was just to get in and jump right in. Get to meet the guys, jump into a game right away, go play, and kind of go from there. Take it for what it is. Me and both Sam, we're both excited to be here and get to know the guys in the group, and hopefully we're a great fit.
I know you were playing with some good players in Anaheim, but you step in and you'll get a start here with Leon Draisaitl. Just maybe your thoughts on how to play with that player. He's obviously a great puck distributor, but just how good an opportunity that is too.
Yeah, I mean it's exciting. Come in and at first not really knowing where you're going to slot in, how things are going to shake out, but it's an exciting time for us. For me to get an opportunity here for the playoff push and a deep run, and that's what we play for. So I'm sure things will get shifted around quite a bit. It is nice to be able to play center and wing, I guess. Just kind of that versatility a little bit. So just looking forward to the opportunity. You're just going to try to go out there and just play some hockey.
How different is the mindset being a winger on the second line with one of the most skilled players in the world versus being a center on the third line, maybe with a bit of a different role in game? How do you sort of approach those two? I think you want to attack. Playing against these guys is a big challenge. We've seen that a lot in Anaheim, and to be on the other side of it and play with them, it's exciting. So for me, I think my game, just go out there, not overcomplicate anything, just do a lot of the little things that can help the line. Whatever that is, a defensive zone, being low, playing there, and then just looking to attack. So, sometimes it takes a bit to get that chemistry, but hopefully we can get some of that right away. How would you describe the time that you've spent on the wing kind of over the years and sort of your experience level there, comfort level?
Very comfortable. It's, again, playing wing, you're playing with two centermen on the line, which is nice. So you can kind of get that trade-off in the defensive zone. A lot of times that the centerman is the more, say, responsible guy, you could say. But I think just having those options to be able to move things around is a nice thing to have.
You just recently, with the Ducks, played the Blue Jackets, I believe, right? Is there anything that stand out about that team that you're going to play tonight?
They work. It is a challenging team. I think they're have beat some great teams as of late. So, you just have to be ready. You got to be able to roll everybody and play hard. So, it's for us, it's just nice to be here and nice to be able to get into a game right away.
You've got lots of experience in this league, but the 1 year you had in the playoffs, it was a deep run, so you got a real good taste of it there, but not a ton of other playoff years. Yeah. So how hungry are you playoff-wise?
Well, hungry. First year you think it just happens every year kind of thing, being back in the playoffs. But as a young player, as the years go on, you learn a lot of the ins and outs of the league and the inner workings of teams and kind of the, I guess the cap side of things and all that, the contracts, that sort of thing. So, for me then it was not shocking, but the turnover, and then you kind of see where a team gets not stuck in a bit of a rebuild, but trying to retool and get back to that position, and it takes a long time. So, they're certainly heading in the right direction in Anaheim, but for me personally, it's nice to be able to get this opportunity to make a deep run.
There's Adam Henrique, one of the newest members of the Edmonton Oilers. He has 42 points in 60 games this season. Pretty good. And he will join Sam Carrick and the recently acquired, as of today, Troy Stetcher joining the fold as we welcome in our game analyst, Joaquin Gage, for tonight, in for Matty Cassian. And Gager, I'm going to say this, very calm, very poised. I like the demeanor from Henrik in the interview, the body language. And listen, that's one interview, so whatever. But it seems like a guy that just understands. That's a veteran that knows what he is in this league. I like the thing that he said about going out there and attacking. I think that's a nice mindset. And there's something that puts me at ease watching and listening to Adam Henrique in that scenario, though. What did you glean from the 3.5 minutes of Adam Henrique that we heard?
Basically, just a veteran player, Tommy. I like you. I like what he said about playing against the Oilers previously. They're a team that attacks, so it's kind of interesting to get the mindset of a player that's had to go up against this Edmonton Oilers team. And if memory serves me correctly, the Ducks had some good first periods and were competitive, but still ended up on the losing side of the game. So, veteran guy knows what to expect playing against these types of players, and is, from all accounts, quite confident in what he says of being inserted into the lineup and providing whatever the team needs. It's Ken Holland likes his veteran guys, Tommy, in this situation, wants to bring in a guy with a little bit of more experience that's not going to be completely overwhelmed with the whole situation. I'm interested to see how he does tonight. It's got to be pretty exciting going from the outhouse to the penthouse here for him.
Adam Henrique wearing number 19 for the Oilers, and Sam Carrick wearing Doug Waite's old number 39. I was thinking about this, Gager, and I was like, it's been 23 years since Doug Waite wore that number in Edmonton. Any thoughts to Sam Carrick wearing 39? I don't think it's...
I thought that was kind of put away, but...
I don't think anybody's worn it since.
I don't think so either.
Koskinen wore 19.
Yeah, does Henrique have a good glove hand? Because the last one was a little suspect.
Pat Maroon also wore 19, but use the old frying pan that Mikko Koskinen. What did we say? You and I were watching a game and we were talking about Koskinen. We're like, he went to Switzerland basically to retire, where he's just casually playing hockey, right?
Yeah, he went to the nicest men's league on the planet, essentially, is where he's at, and. It's crazy if you have to go to Lugano, Switzerland and just pinch yourself and realize that there's an actual professional team that you could play for there. Yeah. I think our old friend Jason Strudwick was part of their team for a little bit too. He could tell you some stories, I bet. Yeah,
Struddy's a mountain man, wearing tight jeans and scarves.
Oh, I think it was more thongs and flip-flops, but
that makes sense.
Nice, yeah, it's a nice lake there.
Any thoughts on Carrick wearing 39? Yeah, Dougie Waite, that's not a sacred number here, right? That it's a very highly respected one, but it's not sacred.
It depends on the vintage, I think, Tommy. Like you and I don't know. You get feelings of that was kind of Dougie's number,
yeah.
But hey, I big shoes to fill. If he can obviously not be a Doug Waite type of guy, but if he can be a leader like Dougie was, by all means, throw it on and let her buck.
There you go. Doug Waite's old number 39 will be worn by Sam Carrick. All right, let's get to Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting, RE/MAX Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent, top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. All right, Joaquin Gage in for Matty Cassian on Game Changers tonight as the Oilers and Columbus Blue Jackets get set to go toe-to-toe. Number one for you tonight, Gager, is chemistry.
Yeah, this takes time usually, Tommy, but two new guys coming into the lineup, getting accustomed to the team. I want to see how they do, like especially with Henrique. From how accounts, just from pregame skate, it seems like he's already on the same type of page. So I don't really. It might take maybe a few periods before he really kind of fits in. But there's all the other intangibles. You want to come in and impress your teammates and be part of the program. I'm sure there's he's excited about the prospect of a playoff run, possibly adding to the hardware at the end of the whole thing. So I'd like to see him try to fit in, not try to do too much, but just be that missing piece that hopefully builds the puzzle for a Stanley Cup championship.
Gager, when a new guy would come to a team from another team via trade or released and signed or claimed off waivers, whatever, when a new guy came in while you were playing, I'm sure everybody had their eyes on that new player or the new players, but what are some things you would look for in the new guy? And because I'm sure before you engage and interact, you're kind of trying to size them up a little bit. And I think that's just something that's part of our nature.
Yeah. And, I guess the biggest one that I was part of was when Bill Guerin was traded for Anson Carter. Mm-hmm. And Bill Guerin was loved, and so it was like, gosh, that's a huge piece of your team that's moving out. That was not only a part of the reason why you won so many games, but it was just an integral part of the dressing room itself. So that was difficult with Anson, just because we lost such a good player. Anson was a good guy too, and that's how the kind of mantle of a team. Like we were all very welcoming for Anson Carter coming into the Edmonton Oilers locker room. Like we wanted him to feel comfortable. I think it was probably more so because he knew how loved Bill Guerin was, right? And he was, let's face it, he wasn't Bill Guerin. Right? He just, but sometimes a guy getting traded there was a few pieces in that, but there was a lot of expectations of Anson coming in. And I think his first game, if I'm correct, I think it was we were playing in Ottawa and he scored that night. Right. And so everyone just jumped on him and stuff. And he felt like he was part of the team right away. A lot of it, it's not only the player, it's the team you're coming into, that's why I say these trade deadlines are so tough, because you're sometimes saying goodbye to some pretty close friends.
Yeah. I do recall Anson Carter when he came over. I can't remember if he had the dreads his first year or if that came in later, but he had a Mission helmet, Gager, and he had Mission gloves and stick, the M1. I ended up buying one because of him. So I was like, that guy's good. And I was not anywhere near as good, trust me, obviously. But,
I would have loved to see you with dreads, Tommy. That's ambitious. Nice.
And I would like to see Anson with the Tino Vaselino look. I think it would be great. Number 2 on Game Changers with Joaquin Gage. Pick 6, Gager.
Okay, this is what I mean by this. So this is encompassing with the current road trip that the Edmonton Oilers are on, and Calvin Pickard getting the start tonight. Right? So he won his last start, gets another start tonight against Columbus. I think I'm assuming that the Oilers are getting into a flip-flop situation with their goaltenders. Great opportunity for Calvin Pickard to pick up 6 points, 3 wins in a row for him. I've said that this is the Oilers goaltending situation is in a really good spot. Mm-hmm. Stuart Skinner's playing at the top of his game right now. His last 2 starts have been phenomenal. Calvin Pickard has provided, I'd say, like better than backup goaltending. He's giving Oilers really good starts and the opportunity to win games. I just like to see that keep rolling, so that when last year, although that Jack Campbell played quite well when he got into the playoffs and won some games, it'd be nice to get both guys feeling really comfortable with their game right before game 83. So if something does happen, it's not a guy that's lost his last few starts and is trying to almost do too much in there at that point, right? So hopefully you can see for Calvin Pickard's sake, he can pick up another win and get another one on this really important road trip.
Just 1 loss in his last 8 starts, Gager, so that's a really good indicator. And like you said, he's been very steady for this team. Picked up that win over Pittsburgh. Too bad they didn't get him the shutout, but that's the way it goes. An opportunity to maybe tonight, I don't know, but he does have 1 on the season and has been excellent at 8-3. It is Game Changers with Joaquin Gage. Game Changers, as always, brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Number 1 was chemistry. Number 2 was pick 6. We're going to see Calvin Pickard between the pipes for the Oil tonight. Number 3, Joaquin, trade deadline. Sigh.
Yeah, there's it. I equate it to kind of training camp too, Tommy, where you make the team and you've worked so hard, and there's all of a sudden this little air out of the balloon, so to speak, right? So you have these guys, they've been on pins and needles over the past few weeks. By all accounts, it does look, there's still a possibility. I won't say it's completely written out, but this is going to be the team moving forward. There's guys that you kind of give that sigh of relief. Okay, I don't have to move my dogs. My wife isn't going to be mad at me because I'm going to go live in a hotel and I don't have to look after the kids for the next 2.5 months. You just tend to relax. This isn't the time for that. Looking at the woes of the Vegas Golden Knights, and with you can see the Vancouver Canucks ahead of you. Time to drop the hammer. Keep going. Get the new guys involved. Don't take your foot off the gas at this point, and finish strong and get ready for the playoffs.
Well said, Gager. I'm going to throw the question of the night at you. How do you feel about the additions Ken Holland has made to the roster? Is this team a true cup contender in your opinion?
They were a cup contender before, Tommy. I don't think you can say they weren't. You look at the retooling of the other teams in the West. You have to say that the Edmonton Oilers did an adequate job of solidifying their roster and making themselves a tougher team to play against. All these teams have, it's outside the LA Kings, but and you've talked about their goaltending woes, and it's very difficult for them to do anything. But yeah, I like the additions they've made. They've shored up the back end with a veteran presence, right shot that I think that was necessary. Someone that can come in, and the 2 guys that they added on forward. These are, again, they're missing pieces to the puzzle that I think that's starting to take in the shape of a good solid playoff push, and hopefully a drink from the chalice at the end of it.
Ooh, that would be lovely, wouldn't it, for everybody in this city to be able to enjoy the splendors of sweet, sweet victory.
If I don't know, but I picture a 6 o'clocker lager in that thing. If we can, I'll see what I can do, Tommy.
Yeah, well, you're our inside guy, Gager. You're our inside guy. Fantastic stuff. Are you going to be able to do post game, Gager? How are you looking for tonight?
We'll discuss during the game, Tommy.
I also need a follow up on Tomahawk night. How did that go with the boy?
Oh my God, that was great. Oh, the Tomahawks were at Canadian Brewhouse. Just a fantastic night. Me and the boy chowed down. Thanks, Mike Wheeler, for setting that up for us. We really appreciate it. Then hit Dune 2 VIPs with my boy.
Nice.
Couple suds watching the movie. It was next level, man. Next level weekend.
That is a good night for the boys. Gager, great stuff on Game Changers. Hopefully catch up with you later after the game.
Awesome, buddy.
That is our game analyst, Joaquin Gage, bringing us Game Changers. As always, brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. If you're looking to get into the market, maybe move on from a starter home to a family-sized home, or maybe you're looking to downsize, whatever you're looking for, Damon is your guy. I'm actually going to go up, grab lunch with Damon next week. Haven't caught up with him in a little while. Great dude, and knows the market inside out and can definitely help you out. Tell him EST sent ya. Let's get to some texts here. Northside Sandwich. Ooh, Northside Sandwich. Good to hear from you, Paisan. Tommy, the M1 Classic. I love those. Solid blue with the white strip. I had a buddy whose dad worked for Mission. He always had them. One never came my way. Signed, Northside Sandwich. It was a very simple stick. It had a good shelf life. I think I ended up with 2 of them. The first one lasted longer than the second one, and they both snapped at the kick point at about 3 or 4 months in. I was only like 15 or 16 when I got them. But I really liked them, and they were really clean, classic-looking one pieces, and they even had a 2-piece as well. And mine broke at the kick point. But, yeah, Ensign Carter had those, and I was like, man, he's got cool gear. Do you know about Mission hockey? You're too young.
Yeah, no, unfortunately not.
They got in there. They were like roller hockey, and then they went into like hockey. Oakley got in there for a little bit. It was a time of like Nike was getting in there. iTech was still kicking around. It was an interesting time in the world. Jofa and Coho were still happening. It was an interesting time in hockey equipment, and those smaller companies ended up going by the wayside. But Mission, I remember that blue stick, and I was like, damn, that's a nice stick. And I ended up getting 2 of them. Jason and Leduc says, the only numbers that are off limits are the retired ones. Doug Waite is my 3rd favorite Oiler of all time. I carried the pop tray for Oiler games during their era, so I feel like if I can let it go. Good point, Jason Leduc. I'm a huge Doug Waite guy. He was my guy growing up, and I'm like, hey, Sam Carrick's wearing 39. That's fine. No big deal. It's not like Ralph Intranuvo wearing number 9. That is a deep dive in Oilers history. I did it to myself. Bad Andy says, our beer league team in St. Albert had the Mission rep play on our team, and we all had Mission helmets and sticks. Those helmets were like, they're big. The sticks were great. I like those sticks, but they, like all, they had a certain wear pattern to them, and they would go eventually. But, yeah, Mission, I thought it was a cool hockey brand for a little while, and they're not there anymore. C'est la vie. C'est la vie. All right, pal. I'm going to bore you some more with hockey equipment talk, or do you want to move on?
Yeah, no, I don't mind this at all, Tommy. You're not boring me.
Sleeping over there.
No, what are you talking about? No, I wasn't boring. But this is this is breaking news.
What do you got?
From our EST insider,
oh my God,
Lieutenant Eric, Jake Gensel to the Carolina Hurricanes, as per Lieutenant Eric.
As per Lieutenant Eric. Gensel, so what's the return?
That's all he says.
That's
all we got is Jake Gensel to Carolina Hurricanes from your insider, EST insider, LT, Lieutenant Eric.
That. He has been on fire today.
He really has been.
So many trades. And, Michael Bunting is being held out of the Hurricanes game due to trade-related reasons. Maybe that's part of it.
Sounds right.
If you want a good laugh, go on LTE's X timeline from today and just enjoy. What did he compare the Leafs? He said the Leafs, if they acquire one more blue liner, it'll look like a driver's ed parking lot.
Yeah, that was it. He was on fire. It was so funny.
Bravo.
His approach was great.
Bravo, Eric.
Very unique. And, he's just breaking news.
8 minutes ago, Jake Gensel, Carolina Hurricanes. Just if you need a laugh for today, just check out
You'll get a kick out of it.
Timeline. All right, let's go inside the Oilers locker room. Where to, pal?
Yeah, speaking of trades, let's hear what Captain Connor thinks of the newest additions to the Edmonton Oilers.
The additions that were made yesterday, and maybe notably, not really subtractions in terms of guys being traded away.
I thought yesterday was a great day for our team. Obviously, adding 2 great players, but great people as well. Character guys that can help our room, and obviously their on-ice game is strong as well. So I think 2 great additions, and obviously the fact that we don't have to send anyone away helps a lot.
What do you think they can bring to this team?
Well, certainly I think they can bring some grit, some compete for sure. I think Adam obviously is having a career year and has been on having good years back to back here, and scoring goals and killing penalties and doing lots of really, really good things. And Sam, just a hard player to play against. Makes it difficult for other teams. I know when we were in Anaheim, he makes a long night on the face-off dot and plays hard and does all the right things.
What do you think about the flexibility, especially Adam can bring to the lineup? Play top six, third line, center, wing, all over the place. How does that help?
Yeah, it certainly gives Chris and the coaching staff some options as to how they want to set up the lineup. We have lots of good centermen, we have lots of good players, and can set the lineup however he feels.
7 centermen in your top 12. What does that, as one of them, what does that mean?
Well, it means you're strong on the face-off dot. It means you're, usually centermen are pretty smart players. I think all 7 centermen that you said, as you said, in the top 12 are smart players. You can't have enough hockey IQ on a team, so I think that's a good thing.
So centermen are smarter than wingers, that's what you're saying?
Generally, that's what I'll say. It's not doesn't go for everybody, but it's usually how it goes. But I gotta stop talking about this one.
When you look around the room, I mean, you had Corey Perry's experience. Adam Henrique's been around a really long time here. Like you've got a certain level of experience that you're kind of loaded up with right now. You think that can be a difference maker?
I think that's great. Guys, we're definitely not a young group in here. We guys with lots of experience, guys that have gone all the way, guys that have just different experiences. I think that's all positive stuff.
All right, there was the captain there. I think he likes the moves that were made, joking around. Yes, centermen are always smarter than wingers. Always. I'll back up Connor McDavid on that one. Every day of the week. Let's go to the nasty chat, see what's going on there. People talking about LTE breaking trades. I say that in jest, of course. LTE having a heyday with that. Just running wild, a field day indeed. B-Mother Reviews says, Bill Guerin was my favorite player in those days. And Bill Guerin was excellent back then. Billy the Butcher, they were calling him at times. He was just a beast in the 98 playoffs against Colorado, and followed it up with some good series against Dallas the next 2 years, and then got traded. Zach comes in the nasty chat. Did you see that? He's got the wrench.
Yeah. I saw that.
Hey, boys, it's going to be fun to see the new boys out tonight. Hopefully Kane and Dry can get something going with Uncle Rico.
Uncle Rico.
I like that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Uncle
Is he starting that?
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Yeah. I like it. Uncle Rico. It's going to stick.
We called Derek Van Diest from NHL.com Uncle Rico because he was talking about how good he was a quarterback in high school. And in junior, I think he played for the Huskies or the Wildcats back in the day. And he was taking his nephew to Elks games. And I was like, you know what, man? We should just call you Uncle Rico because he could throw a ball a quarter mile. I'm surprised that Zach DeCum knows that reference because the year Zach DeCum was born was the year Napoleon Dynamite came out, I believe, or shortly after he was born. Anyway, that's beside the point. Jenna says 94 is untouchable and embarrassingly not retired. Jack says, is 99 available? No. Hey, Johnny Alberta. Johnny Alberta says, I learned Henrik. And a fun fact today, he won a gold medal with Canada in the 2021 World Championships. His teammate, Connor Brown, was the leading scorer for the tournament. Mind blown. All right. Love it. Jack says Carolina's good team. Loomis says, holy God, what a like by LTE. All right. I like it. Let's go back inside the Oilers locker room. Let's hear from the other new Oiler. We haven't heard from Troy Stetcher yet. Sam Carrick wearing Doug Waite's old number 39. That's where that conversation came from. Here he is.
Like we often ask players about this, but a bit of a whirlwind. How did you get
sure.
here?
Yeah, whirlwind's probably a good way to describe it. I woke up yesterday morning expecting to play a home game in Anaheim and, kind of got to morning skate and that's when the news kind of broke. I'd heard rumors before, and obviously Adam was a guy who was pretty confident that he would be moved sooner or later. So, but yeah, it never really sinks in until it happens. And now that I'm here, it's starting to feel pretty real.
Kind of an interesting dynamic. You go from amazing weather, but hockey that maybe isn't where you want it to be, to coming to Alberta, but the hockey is. Just take us through that thought process for you.
Oh man, I mean, I love it. It's the hockey is unbelievable. The weather it's hockey weather, so it's great. That's what I'm used to. I mean, I grew up in Ontario, so.
Thinned out the skin a little?
Maybe a little bit, yeah. I've maybe gotten a little softer over the years, the cold weather, but that's all right. I mean, I'll take it. I mean, I'm just grateful for the opportunity here, so, I'm looking forward to making the most of it.
Having a foothold, as an everyday NHL, that, whether it's a fourth line center, wherever the position, on a Stanley Cup aspiration type team, that in a lot of ways that's kind of got to be a dream for a guy in your position.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I'm still kind of making sure that this is all real. It's super special. Obviously I've had a lot of ups and downs in my career, and a lot of hard work to get here. And I think this is what you work for, is this opportunity. Obviously we had some rough patches in Anaheim, and we had some made some good progress over my time there, and I think there is the future is definitely bright there. Yeah, I mean, at this stage of my career, it's pretty exciting to be in this situation.
You've chased Connor McDavid around the ice enough times. What's it like to be his teammate now?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Honestly, I don't know how else to say it. I mean, we played them lots. We've had a lot of, I guess we'll call it blowout games. When this team gets going offensively, it's pretty much impossible to stop. So, I'm excited to learn from him, and obviously Leon, and all the top players here. What makes them so special in that aspect. So, yeah, that's one of the things I'm looking forward to, is just to see that every day in, day out, and see what makes them great.
I feel like this robust style, bottom six, that seems to be what's required in the playoffs to win. Do you feel like, in some ways you're sort of tailor-made for playoff hockey and looking forward to the potential of that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's it takes a lot to win. It takes a whole team, a lot of depth, and I think this team's already has tons of depth, and I'm looking forward to hopefully adding to that. And I mean, obviously the PK is going to be huge in playoffs. A lot of one-goal games, a lot of high-pressure situations in the D zone that I think over the season you build a lot of confidence in yourself in that, and come playoff time, it all comes natural. Those different situations where maybe you're protecting a lead, or you need a big shot block, or stuff like that. Little things that add up over the course of a season that come playoff time, it just comes natural.
Sam, coming off the whirlwind 24 hours that you already described, how much do you enjoy the element of just getting right into it tonight?
For sure, that's what I was just saying. Little things like new equipment and stuff like that. It's nice just to throw the stuff on, go play. New systems. I'm trying not to overthink too much right now, and just go out there and play. For the most part, most teams in this league play pretty similar systems, a few tweaks here and there, but there's really not much that changes. At the end of the day, you're going out there and you're playing. And I think the best hockey is usually when you're not thinking too much and you're just reacting. So, I mean, I've got all the systems down now, and looking forward to just getting out there and, executing it.
All right, that was new Oiler Sam Carrick. He's going to be centering the fourth line tonight. He's going to have Derek Ryan on one side. He's going to have Matthias Janmark on the other side, wearing Dougie Waite's old number 39. And you're going, Sam Carrick, why did they get this guy? Well, 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, 32 years of age. In 61 games played this season, Carrick 8 goals, 3 assists, minus 11 on a god-awful Anaheim team, with 90 penalty minutes, and he is a penalty killer and is decent on draws. So Carrick gets in there, and I like that. Just go out there, get the new gear, go play. Yeah, the systems are generally the same, but a few little tweaks from team to team. But he's going to go and enjoy it, and seems to be in a good mindset too. A little bit of an older guy, and he's not going to back away from anything. That's a good fourth liner on paper. Let's see if it translates to the ice starting tonight for the Oilers. Mike in Thunder Bay says, I heard that Carrick was going to take 98, but was told it's too close to 99. Mike in Thunder Bay. Ha-ha. Brandon from Windsor says, LFG, any smoke behind Oilers and Eberle potential trade? Brandon from Windsor, I was told this in the morning. The Oilers were told that he is re-signing with Seattle, but perhaps Eberle prices himself out. If that happens, they might circle back, but it's not expected. That is the update. And that was from earlier in the day. But I was also told shortly after they made the Stetcher deal that they are pretty much done. I'll take a look around tomorrow, but unlikely they make any other moves. If they do, okay, we'll see what they do. All right, we're going to go to the Columbus side of things, and we're going to hear from head coach Pascal Vincent, or how do you say it, Trev?
That is how I say it, Pascal Vincent.
Vincent. All right, let's hear from Pascal Vincent.
Presuming that Marchie is back in the lineup, what would you like to see out of him beginning tonight?
He's what I like about Marchie, and we had a long chat yesterday, is his passion for the game. I want to see that. I want to see him compete. I want to see him being Marchie, the Marchie we know, and that's what we talked about, and it was a good conversation.
He always seems to feel like he needs to get better when we talk to him.
Yeah.
Were there some specific things that you wanted him to focus on?
No, it's not. I like Marchie's game. I like his mindset. He's a student of the game. I like the fact that he's always trying to get better. That's what great players do. In any field of works, the people that are looking to improve consistently just get better over time. And he's got that mindset. I want him to shoot the puck or put him in a different position on the power play because I think he can help us there. He knows how to play the middle guy, but now I want him to put him in a position to shoot the puck more. I want to see that line to play straight with speed, using their skills properly. But it's nothing has changed. It was a decision. Now we're moving on.
As it's such a strange time on the calendar, the trade deadline when it arrives, and I don't think you guys are necessarily in the eye of the storm this year. But have you talked to the group, or Roslovic specifically, whose name seems to bounce up more than others, just about how to handle this and what you want to see from them until the deadline passes?
Yeah, no, I haven't have a direct conversation. I trust that their men understand the position they're in. I think, especially with Jack, I have a real good relationship with him. I think if he had some questions or issues, he would raise them to me. But I don't want to create a problem either, like talking about something that if he's not thinking about it. I'm sure he is, but his last game again, he was really good, so he's handling the whole thing really well, if it's in his mind.
Based on this morning, Peak is in and Bean out?
Yeah.
Is it because of what Peak is doing or what Bean is not doing?
No, Peak had a real good game. We haven't played him much. I had a good chat with Bean this morning. He's playing good hockey as well, but we can only play. I'm not a big fan of 11-7. We did it, but I'm more 6-12 kind of structure. And Peaker didn't play a whole lot this year, but if I could play Bean, I would. He's been playing good for us.
Cleveland Monsters are obviously having a very, very good year this year.
Yeah.
They're in contention for the lead of they're in the lead of their division. If that was different, would some of the decisions be different as far as wanting to recall certain guys and things, or is there a movement to maybe want to keep them together and let them kind of develop and compete?
Well, we might see some different decisions past the post deadline, trade period. We'll see, but you know what? Like a guy, like I said that the last in Pittsburgh, like Andrew Peak hasn't played a whole lot, and he's doing everything right in the sense that his attitude, his work ethic, low maintenance. He's not being a distraction because we know he's not happy for not playing. So for not playing him over a guy in Cleveland, that's a conversation we would have to have with him. And at this point, it wouldn't be right for him. So we can go, that's more individually. Maybe we'll call up some guys because we need to see them, but that's going to happen post-trading period.
All right, that was Pascal who?
Vincent.
Very nice, very nice. You were worried you weren't going to say it right. You said it very well.
Yeah, I have a hard time. I'm still working on my pronunciation for a lot of words.
That was really good.
Like that?
Pascal Vincent.
Yeah, that's really good. So, yeah, Tommy was helping me out there a little bit, but thank you.
You nailed it, pal. You nailed it. YouTube Trev, kicking butt, taking names like he does. All right, that was that coach, Pascal Vincent of the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Oilers with their new players in tow. No Troy Stetcher today for this one, but Sam Carrick and Adam Henrique will indeed play. I did want to get to a few texts before we wrap up because the game's coming up shortly. Big Dave texted in. Big Dave said, I like the moves Holland made. If this is all the Oilers do, they got depth that they needed. Oilers fans need to touch grass, relax, and try to enjoy something. From Big Dave. Thanks for the text, Big Dave. Jasmine, hello, Jasmine, says, it's nice having a show in the afternoon. Yes. Yes.
Amen.
Yes. Thank you, Jasmine. Good to hear from you. And it is nice to have an afternoon show. I'll leave it at that. Fat Dan says they're just going to let Henrik wear Anatoly Semenov's number 19? That really flaps my jacks. Where's the respect? Laughing emoji, Fat Dan. Anatoly Semenov. There is a name from a bygone era in Oilers history. Excellent reference, Fat Dan. Excellent reference.
That's yeah.
He knows the Dano Seagar.
That's a new one, Tommy. I haven't heard of that one. That player.
How about Bob Beers?
Bob Beers?
Bob Beers was in town with the Bruins broadcast crew. Former Oiler.
That one might ring a bell or two.
Actually? It was like
Bob
93, 94 he played for them.
Yeah, that one kind of sounds familiar, but the...
No Anatoly Semenov?
No, that's a new one.
No Zdeno Seagar?
Nope. Never heard of that one.
What about German Titov?
Dang, no. I'm kind of mad at myself. Like, I pride myself in knowing a little bit about the history.
Andre Kovalenko.
I want to say
Valery
that
Zelepukin.
Jeepers. Nice.
Mikhail Stalenkov.
Holy crap, you're good, Tommy. Nope, all those.
I'm just a nerd.
Yeah. Well, that's super impressive. Yeah. So that's like all.
Sean Podine.
No. I mean, no, I guess I just know the big names from the 90s and 80s.
I know. There was a lot of bad... There were a lot of players that the Oilers had for a small period of time in the 90s that went on to have like really good careers. That you would have been like, why wasn't he like that with Edmonton? They just had a really rough 4-year stretch between 92 and 96-ish. They made the playoffs in 92, missed for 4 years, 96, 97. When they got Cujo in 95, 96, Joaquin was on the team for parts of that season too. They traded Ranford. They had Freddie Brathwaite and Joaquin Gage. Got Cujo signed. That's when they started to turn the corner. They just missed out. They made a bit of a push for the playoffs that year. 96, 97. I think they got in at 7. Faced Dallas, beat them, lost to Colorado. The next year, I think it was the same thing, but faced Colorado, went down 3-1, rattled off 3 in a row, then lost to Dallas. Then they lost to Dallas for like 3 or 4 years in a row after that.
That's good to know, Tommy. It's interesting. That's stuff I
Ryan Swanson.
No.
Okay.
Darn it. I'm mad. I'm kind of mad at myself.
The guys whose names matter that we need to know about tonight are the new ones. Adam Henrique, he will be lined up alongside Leon Draisaitl and Evander Kane on the second line. Sam Carrick centering the fourth line with Matthias Janmark and Derek Ryan. You're going to also see Connor McDavid between Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman, and then McLeod will be centering Fogle and Perry. No changes to defense. Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Desharnais, Kulak with CC, Brown and Troy Stetcher, recently acquired today, are not going to be playing for the Oil tonight. Calvin Pickard is your starter. He is 8-3 on the season, 240 goals against average, .909 save percentage, 1 shutout in 12 games this season. The 31-year-old versus Columbus, a 2-2-1 record, 297 goals against average, 879 save percentage in the 5 appearances versus the Jackets over the course of his career. At the other end of the rink, 24-year-old Daniel Tarasov, 5-8-2, .358 goals against average, .891 save percentage in 15 games this season. He will face Edmonton for the first time in his young NHL career. The Oilers seeking a 6th straight victory. Do they get it tonight, Trev?
Yeah, I'm thinking so, Tommy.
You like it?
Yeah, like this is a team they've kind of, I don't know, for whatever reason they've struggled with in recent years. Just memory from growing up, and even it's funny because last year they played the Penguins and they won. It was dominating fashion, and then the next game they played the Columbus Blue Jackets and they lost 6-5, and it was a very frustrating loss. And so you look at the game earlier this season, they didn't really show up till the third period. They ended up winning that game, but yeah, they got to show up on time, Tommy. I think they will. I think the boost from the new players is really going to help them, and will they shuffle the lines? Maybe not. Time will tell. Let them play. But yeah, I'm pretty pumped. I can't wait to see what Henrik brings tonight.
All right, let's go to the nasty chat. Good vibes in the nasty chat this afternoon, which is excellent. One says, Hyman in the last 5 games has 5 goals, 0 apples, and more than twice as many goals as he does apples on the season. Don't be so greedy. Pass. He is well on his way to a 50-goal season, so a little bit sarcastic there from one. Thanks for the text. Jenna says, touch grass. Yeah, just a minute. I'll go shovel off a patch. It's warming up. I noticed the roads are getting a little bit better. Shout out to the city road crews that were out yesterday, getting rid of like the extra drifts of snow and the windrows. So we're going to get a bit of a melt coming on here. The Worm says, it's almost game time. That's so good. Love it, The Worm. And one also adds, everybody in the Coliseum chugged our beers when Bob was on the ice. I like it. Arcane Creative says, Joe Hulbig. There's another one. That's another obscure Oilers reference from the past. Johnny Alberta says, Sean Podine was not great. I remember him having a horrid game in a 9-0 loss to the Canucks. He did win a Stanley Cup with the Avalanche and did play for a while after. VR Montenegro says, Stephen Rice. Good one. Penner's Pancake says, some real gems during 93 to 96 in that era. Yes, indeed. Jenna says, who is Christian Laflamme? I'll take obscure Oilers for 1,200, Tom. That is a great one. I believe he was involved in the Boris Mironov, Dean McCammond trade. Christian Laflamme, Ethan Morrow, and Chad Kilger coming to Edmonton for those two. Pedro says, Tom's digging deep. I was there, and I can't remember a few of those guys. And Materi says, 8 5-o'clockers ready to go. Jenna says, East Coast bias, Tom. And we will... Oh, Yaroslav Puzar from 1. I interviewed him during the 84 reunion. He is an interesting cat, very funny guy, and I love these great obscure Oilers references from back in the day. That is going to do it for the Oil Stream pregame show. That was a lot of fun. Huge thank you to Joaquin Gage for filling in for Matty Cassian. Big thank you to everyone who listened, whether it was on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, or our Edmonton Sports Talk audio stream. And then to those who watched on our YouTube channel, thank you. Thumbs up on the way out if you don't mind. We appreciate that so very much. Big thank you as well to Brian Hedger from the Columbus Dispatch, giving us the scoop on the Jackets, having a tough season. 21 wins, 31 losses, and 10 OT losses. Edmonton seeking win number 39 with its new players in tow. Sam Carrick wearing number 39, Adam Henrique wearing number 19. For YouTube, Trev and Gager, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thank you. See you on the postgame show. Ciao for now.